affair, a TikTok star, and a $1.75 million verdict that nearly ended with a fight outside the Durham County Courthouse. That was not the fight. That was the joy inside the courtroom. We're talking about the case of North Carolina TikToker Brene Montague. She was sued by her now husband's ex-wife. Tonight, a jury found Montague liable for destroying the couple's marriage. WR's Eric Miller was in court and has the story.
That's the sound of a $1.75 million cheer, coming just moments after court was adjourned. Akira Montague embraced her attorney, Robinetta Jones, as dozens of supporters yelled from the sidelines.
She has received justice from losing her husband and the father of her children.
Akira Montague's lawsuit, filed in Durham County Court, accuses Brene Montague, an influencer with nearly 3 million followers on TikTok, of seducing and having an affair with her then-husband, Tim. That affair then turning to marriage when Brene and Tim wed. In the suit, Akira Montague claimed Brene used her online influence as a weapon. The affair also caused damage to her health and deprived her kids of a two-parent household.
And it was nothing but lies.
Brene Montague, who represented herself in court, slammed the verdict, saying Akira Montague knew her marriage was over and allowed the affair.
She gave her consent. She said it was okay because she knew her marriage was over with and it was done.
But the jury didn't agree, awarding Akira Montague the $1.75 million after more than 700 pieces of evidence were presented in court, including some of Brene's own TikToks and texts.
That says that my client was telling the truth.
The case hinged on two rarely used laws, including alienation of affection.
It can be very hard to prove, and the reason is because it's hard to find a point in a relationship where the relationship necessarily started to go bad.
But in these videos and in the court testimony, the jury found that point, leaving Brene Montague with a hefty bill and no.
This is stupid because why are they flaunting it on social media? Now, obviously, I don't follow the girl, so that's completely, foreign to me. But why are you flaunting it on social media? It sounds like she wouldn't have had to pay $1.75 million, which we don't even know if she got $1.75 million. I also did a little bit of research and realized that the girl also didn't even have an attorney and represented herself in court. So she just a crash dummy all the way around. She completely negligent, and she's a crash dummy, and she didn't, do her due diligence of how this was going to affect her. And I hope that it was worth it because you can't do stupid stuff like this online. You know of your influence. You know of your impact. You know, that you have millions of followers. And I don't know if she just only got millions of followers on that particular platform or what. But you know what your impact is. And the biggest problem in this whole situation, and this is why people have to be careful. One thing that I've never done in my entire life is tell my followers or try to impact my followers in a way to where it then goes and affects somebody else's life. You see what I'm saying? You can't deploy or do something to where you're basically incentivizing your audience to go and affect somebody else's life. And that goes for anything, because I've seen people tell their followers to go flag something, to go get at somebody and all of this stuff. That's completely irresponsible. And that's why we have to be careful with how we use our platforms for good or for bad. Now, it's one thing to get involved with the dude, and I'm assuming that, he had already left her, or he wasn't checking for her anymore or whatever. It's another thing for the person that you're with to flaunt that they're going to affect your life in a negative way because of the thing that you are a part of or you are involved in. You got to stay out the mix. And I didn't even know that this was a thing. I didn't even know that, you can, in certain states, that they are enforcing these type of things, and who is going to be affected by what happens when you then get involved with stuff that you're not supposed to be involved with. So, when I see something like this happen, she just a crash dummy. It even makes me question how she was able to obtain so many followers or so many people that was a part of what she got going on in the first place, because You can't be this stupid. I mean, even to the point to where you don't even have a lawyer.
Good evening to you again, Lauren. So I spoke with the attorney for Akira Montague. She filed this case in a Durham County courtroom just last year. Her attorney and I, we talked at great length, and she tells me this is the third highest settlement in an alienation of affection case that the state has seen since 1895. These are photos shot by the News and Observer from the trial involving a wildly popular Wake County viral TikToker facing civil allegations of alienation of affection and criminal conversation for allegedly having an affair with a married man. In her 14-page civil complaint filed last year, Akira Montague of Durham claimed TikTok star Brene Kennard not only had an affair with her husband, Tim Montague, but she flaunted that affair all over social media to Kennard's millions of followers, accusing her of verbally flirting and having a sexual affair with Montague's husband, among other complaints. I spoke with attorney Robinetta Jones, who represented Akira Montague, about the details of the complaints that were alleged.
So when you are thinking about alienation of affection, you have to think about the humiliation that the spouse went through. Ms. Kennard flaunted her relationship with a married man, and of course it went viral, and my client was humiliated as a result of that.
Jones says her client is happy with Monday's outcome, with the jury deciding to pay her $1.75 million and is still processing tonight.
When you finally are able to tell your truth, she felt a sense of relief.
In the suit, Akira Montague also accusing Kennard of making social media posts alluding to how she cannot wait to become Mrs. Montague. Akira Montague also alleged that Kennard, who was also married at the time to Tim Montague's first cousin, knew of her marriage, which is necessary to prove an alienation of affection lawsuits.
We were able to prove that they had a loving relationship. They were able to take trips together, spend time together, and still make sure they held themselves out to be husband and wife. Also, text messages helped a lot as well.
Kennard filed a motion to dismiss, arguing the evidence used against her was private and unlawfully obtained, the judge denying that request. Jones says her client represents other women who have been in similar situations with their partner.
She has a voice for women that have been hurt by friends and by their loved one. So a lot of people say that they can recognize themselves in my client.
And North Carolina is one of 7 states in the country that has an alienation of affection clause on their legislative.
Yeah, this is insane. And so one of the things that could be a possible fallout from this, because people are easily influenced. They just follow whatever it is that they see online and they just do whatever. One of the things that could possibly happen in the fallout from this is that you see a bunch of other women now start to go down this same path and think that they can get, a ton of money or something like that, which again, I'm not even sure if the girl has the amount of money because followers don't necessarily equal income. You know what I'm saying? Especially on something like TikTok. But I'm wondering how that's going to play out and how it's going to affect our culture when you think about how women like to easily be influenced. And then, they going to try to do a copycat and follow that same path. But it doesn't necessarily make sense across the board. This is a unique situation or a unique case. And then they say it's the third highest amount. What's the first and the second? I might have to deep dive into that a little bit. But yeah, she was dumb. She decided that she wanted to flaunt it on social media. He was dumb. And both of them look beat. And so that looked crazy too. And how is he dealing with chicks that's like this? Like, how did you even, he went from one to the other. Anyways, let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I'm going to continue to keep you guys in the loop. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.